Hey everybody, welcome to the November Ask Tom Database Security Office Hours. My name is Richard Evans. I'm a product manager of Oracle Database Security, and I'm joined by my friend and colleague, Naja. Welcome, Naja. She is the product manager of Audit Vault and Database Firewall. So we're excited to hear about the cool new features in the latest release update of AVDF 20. So before we do that, this call is being recorded. And these recordings will be available a few days after, probably about a week after, on the Ask Tom platform. And I'll share these links in the chat with you so you don't have to memorize that or write that down. But basically how you got here the first time, you go back to there and then you can see we've got 4 years worth of videos out there. Naja, you've got videos for 20.9, 20.8, 20, like we try to do regular videos to let you know what's new with AVDF. And then she's also got a really good one out there that I would recommend you guys look at on the reference architecture. And so kind of gives you an idea of how to configure and set up your AVDF environment. And all these links will be available. I'll share them in the chat with you here in a minute. So cool stuff that we've got available for you. Okay, let's see. Next slide. So if this is your first time joining us, welcome. We put these calls on every month. We are the second Wednesday of each month at 10 a.m. US Central. I know that throws folks off. We just had that time change. So I think we're, what are we at, 1600 UTC right now instead of 1500 or vice versa. But we try to keep it consistent, at least here, 10 a.m. US Central. I wish we could hit every time zone successfully, but it just doesn't work that way. But we've got our recordings out there on the Ask Tom platform. You can use that QR code to register. We do introductions, announcements, a technical topic, and then you're free to ask questions. Put them in the Q&A, and we'll get to them as we can. And if there's something you want to ask offline, you're welcome to reach out to me or Naja, and we'll take that offline. Okay. So here is what I was referring to. I've got this GitHub repository out there where I try to put the notes for you. So that way you don't have to try to memorize or write down or take a picture of all of the different notes that we are going to talk about today. That hopefully makes it a little bit easier for you to get the information so you can listen to the presentation and enjoy it versus going, oh no, what was that link they just talked about? What was that Moss note ID? What was that? So GitHub repository has that and about 1.5 years worth of previous links too, hopefully to supplement you watching previous videos too if you need to. Okay. Every quarter, patches. We've got a patch. We just released the Oracle quarterly patches for October. If you go out and you look at security-alerts, you'll see that it's revision 3 is out there as of the 31st of October. So grab that latest revision of the quarterly patch for your database, for your Oracle products. Oracle.com/security-alerts is the place to go look for security alerts, bulletins, critical patch update information, all that. There's a couple My Oracle support notes out there too that are good for proactive patching, 19C patching. If you're using real application clusters, you can do fleet patching and provisioning. Hopefully that makes it a little easier for you. And then as always, Mike Dietrich is kind of the go-to guy on all this. MikeDietrichDE.com is his blog where he talks about patching and upgrading. So please, please, please stay on top of patching. We need to make sure that we do that for every product, not just Oracle, but Microsoft, Linux, everything. Stay on top of those patches. Another things we're talking about is migrating from traditional to unified audit. With the release of 23C free and then the impending release of 23C on-prem, cloud, everything, unified auditing is going to be the standard auditing mechanism and really the only mechanism within the 23C database. So take a look at that My Oracle support note, traditional to unified audit syntax converter. Gives you an idea of, okay, these are the audit policies we have in place now. This is what they would look like with unified audit. And then take advantage of some of the capabilities of unified audit. And those logs can be sent to AVDF. So get that information into Audit Vault as well. So you can centralize that audit and then get actionable information out of your audit records. Okay. Generally available now is the 23C SQL Firewall with Oracle Data Save. For the last couple of months, we talked about a limited availability that we had and our customers were testing. We're happy to announce that it's now generally available to everyone who wants to use the Oracle Database 23C SQL Firewall capability there and Oracle Data Safe. So there's a nice UI available to you to do that PL SQL interface, to set up that the policies and the blocking that goes on, or the allowing that goes on with SQL Firewall. So cool stuff there. SQL Firewall is available if you license AVDF or Database Vault. So very, very good technology that we've got in 23C. Okay. Some important notes for you guys to see here related to AVDF. The docs, Naja, I know we all try to do a really good job at staying on top of the documentation, and she and her doc writing team particularly do a good job. So please go to the documentation as your first stop. I put the link to the documentation in that GitHub repository. If there's an error, if something isn't clear, please let us know. There's an ability to file feedback there, because we look at this documentation all the time. So we gloss over those errors sometimes. Customer comes and says, hey, there's a typo here. And it's like, oh my goodness, that's been there for how many years, right? Like, I've looked at that documentation hundreds of times and missed that typo. So if something isn't clear to you, or if there's something we could add, please let us know. Your feedback makes the docs better, okay? If you're going to do a fresh install, you can go to the e-delivery and download the ISOs for AVDF. If you're going to upgrade, that patch is 35651217 to upgrade your existing AVDF environment to 20.10. And then, as always, you can go to the cloud marketplace and launch it from OCI Marketplace. And then a couple notes out there for you to take a look at as well as those primary note for AVDF, and then the AVDF releases support status note there. Gives you an idea of what releases are supported and where we're at with our support matrix. The cool stuff. Get your hands on AVDF. So Naja and Hakeem have been working on updating the live lab for AVDF. So you can explore the unified audit capabilities there. The cool new thing that you can do is assess the security posture of your database. And that's something Naja will talk about today. You can go through kind of preventing SQL injections with Database Firewall, monitoring data exfiltration, receive alerts so we know, hey, somebody created a user. Why would they do that? Or somebody accesses a particular table. Why would they do that? So you can track that. And then you can even track before and after values there if you want to know that. So we have a key column that we need information on. This lab walks you through these kind of capabilities that AVDF offers to you. So again, the QR code takes you to the Live Labs page. I've put this on the GitHub repository, but really, really good to get your hands on this. And then the updated capabilities with release update 10 too. Beyond that, database security has 40 plus live labs available to you. So you can get your hands on pretty much everything we cover. So whether it's setting up like TLS, like one-way TLS to the database, using Data Safe, using AVDF, using TDE, Key Vault, Database Vault, data masking, you name it, it's pretty much there in a live lab. If it's not, let us know and we'll see if we can create one for you. So really, really good source of hands-on training and opportunity. And, more than half of those labs you can do on Oracle's dime. So please take advantage of the Live Labs platform. It's been highly successful and it's a really fun place to play around. Another opportunity to learn more comes up here next Wednesday, it looks like. So a week from today, 10 a.m. UK time, Hakeem is going to do a presentation on creating realistic masked data with Oracle data masking and subsetting. So the Oracle Tech Lounge gives you an opportunity to understand Oracle database technology, Oracle technology in general. You can go out there and register for any of these. I want to highlight the one that Hakeem is doing next Wednesday. So take a look at that one. And that's all I've got, Naja. You want to take over from here?
Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Rich, for all those information and sharing AVDF details. I will also have those QR code and details in end of my presentation. So You all can even use that one. So today's topic is basically we have been listening about posture management in industry now, and I would like to share our standing on how we are now able to provide database security posture management with Oracle Audit Vault and Database Firewall. We did some capabilities in release update 9, RU9, and we have completed some of them in RU10. So let's talk about that. So in next few minutes, I'll be focusing first, obviously, AVDF overview. If there is a newcomer or you want to have some understanding that what AVDF does, so we will talk about that. And then let's talk about it. What is database security posture management and why do we need it? How AVDF provides that capability, and then we will just talk about wrap-ups and next steps. So Audit Vault Database Firewall, it's a single pane of glass for your database activity monitoring. But with the last few couple of release, it's gone beyond just database activity monitoring. So with AVDF now, we are talking about, we are completing circle when it comes to how your database is doing, where it is, what kind of users are accessing that data, what privilege do they have, etc. So with new positioning of AVDF or new capability that we have given in last few RUs, we are starting with assess and discover. So we are giving the capability of first, unless you know what you want to secure and from whom, you won't be able to do next step. So very first step, you do assess and discover, where you know what is your security posture, where is your sensitive data, who are your privileged users, etc. And once you have clear picture of that information, then you start auditing and monitoring. So monitoring all kind of activities or finding for anomalies, security related audit controls, for example, so when I say audit and monitor, so audit, the things which are coming from audit logs, which is your source of truth. And monitoring is more like activity monitoring, and over network, you are kind of a surveillance camera. You are watching that who is doing what on your system. So you start auditing and monitoring your system. And once you start placing those things, you finally have different type of reports generated, activity report, your assessment or a posture report, or you can configure alerts on some suspicious activity or different conditions, etc. And once you have kind of 75% achieved, like you know what to protect and from whom, what is your security posture, what you're auditing, monitoring, and then start reporting and alerting. Now, finally, you kind of understand that you want to filter down, and now you understand that what I want to prevent or protect from. Okay, so then the next step, you start trimming down what you are monitoring, and you start putting a policy that, okay, I don't want to monitor such kind of activity, or I want to block such kind of activity, etc. Right? And then once you start doing this part, then obviously your security posture continues to change, your sensitive data continues to change, or they are coming, adding every time when new application introduce or a new object introduced in, or new capability introduced in your application. So you have new sensitive data, new privileged user. So this activity keeps on happening, right? So this kind of, then again, you find something new, you start having your audit policy. So this circle will start continuing, and you will keep on doing assessing, auditing, reporting, and finally preventing and protecting systems. So this is like overall capability now you get with Audit Vault Database Firewall, just not like activity monitoring that we were talking about, and that's what Beyond is. So from here onwards, I'm going to specific areas, but I want to cover it quickly. because I assume most of you are using AVDF or know about AVDF. So from the assess and discovery side, we provide a fleet-wide database security posture management. If you have been using, let's say, DBSAT, database security assessment tool for Oracle databases, great tool. It has all the capability. It will tell you what is your security posture management for that independent database. Find out does the compliance mapping gives you recommendation, etc. But what is missing was in DBSAT was like it was for independent database, and however AVDF beauty was it was for enterprise level, so you can your comprehensive view of your all databases, and that's where we combined both the capability, DBSAT capability along with Audit Wall database firewall, and made it that fleet-wide. So your fleet-wide posture management for your Oracle database is what you are able to achieve now. And then discovering sensitive data, maybe on different targets, and this capability is also specifically for so sensitive discovery for Oracle databases and privileged users on your Oracle databases. So that's what you do from assess and discover perspective. From auditing monitoring perspective, we had been providing activity monitoring for database, for network-based SQL traffic, OS, and other non-database targets as well, including custom tables. And we had been already providing detecting data exfiltration if a lot of query count, if any data exfiltration is happening on your system, or a count of that SQL return query is much higher, so you can kind of generate alerts, and we kind of monitor them through database firewall monitoring. So we had been doing that. The new capability, what you see here, is before after value, not only for Oracle, but Microsoft SQL Server databases as well. So we started supporting that, and we did a little bit enhancement there also, and I will talk about more in detail in coming slides. Now you can manage through, under auditing and monitoring, you can manage your entire unified audit policies or predefined STIG and CIS policies, compliant audit policies on AVDF. You can retrieve them, you can deploy them on all the targets, you can change that. So those things were mostly already there as part of activity monitoring. Then the next one comes for reports and alerts. So there are different hundreds of out of the box reports are there. AVDF in particularly, I feel that it provides a very powerful interactive reporting. I have seen reporting for other solutions as well, or other solutions which are in competition with AVDF. Their reporting is not that as flexible. Here we are leveraging capability of Application Express and providing Apex and giving that interactive reporting so that you can quickly do filter, slice and dice of your data. You can have your rapid data analysis. You can define different filters and reach to that particular interest of record much faster compared to any lot of records are there, and you really don't know what you're supposed to do that. On alert policy, it's very it's policy based engine for alerts we provide, and you can really go to specific you can use different combinations to define your alert so that you are not getting false positive and you are not bombarded with a lot of alerts, and you just getting the specific alerts that you want to get. And on this area also, we are doing a lot of enhancement, and in coming release, you will see those enhancement on alert engine part. In reporting and alerting, another thing what we did, I was talking about separation of duty there. So separation of duty, we introduced like read-only auditor, where auditor can just go and generate the reports and cannot really modify policies, etc. And whatever the target they are owner of, they can see reports for those targets. And apart that, you have a different type of users like super admin, super auditor, read-only auditor, etc. And finally, prevent and protect. So we provide very powerful policy engine where you can detect unauthorized access to any sensitive data or any or this is happening from any privileged user, etc. We inspect SQL queries much more accurately because we kind of do it from the SQL grammar analysis perspective. So in English, I would say that we understand the intent of that SQL, and accordingly, we kind of protect. So the concept in AVDF for prevention and detection is, so we do not work on signature-based SQL injection currently, but no, what our philosophy is that you tell us what is right for you, right? So what kind of a traffic you see that it's a known traffic for you. So if you tell us your whitelist or your known traffic, so anything apart that is unknown to me, and I will prevent your system from that unknown traffic. So that's a philosophy we are following, because this is going to reduce your false positives significantly, and then through that journey, you have a lot of capabilities like creating sets, creating profile. So you can really go at fine grain level that what kind of whitelisting you are doing, or etc. However, you can do blacklisting as well if you want, but that's a philosophy we prefer to define your policies. As an overall architecture, this is how AVDF look from the auditing perspective. So you have databases, operating system, different custom sources, their audit data or event logs goes to Audit Vault server. That's your centralized repository, tamper proof. We use all the security features inside Audit Vault server that you might be using for your enterprise databases or your most critical applications in your organizations. For example, TD or database vault and partitioning, etc. So we use all that functionality inside Audit Vault server. If you want to have database firewall deployed, you can have database firewall deployed. That's an optional component. That's more for the network based event monitoring and having first line defense to your databases. And if something which is not known and you want to prevent your connection to the database, so database firewall will do that. Okay, and those network events are also sent to Audit Vault server, and here you will manage all your policies, reports, alerts, etc. So this is how holistically this looks like. Okay, so now let's talk about database security posture management, DSPM, what exactly it is. So what industry is saying and what analysts are talking about. So analysts are saying that so they are in particularly talking about data security posture. So they are saying that you should know where your sensitive data is, who is accessing that data, how that data is being used, and finally, what is the security posture of that repository where your data is stored. So for example, now if we take a context of that definition with not only data, but in particular to the database security posture management. So we are providing security assessment. You assess your database configuration. You are able to find the drift from your baseline as well. You discover your sensitive data, that where your sensitive data is residing on all those targets, who are those privileged user accessing those data, and what permissions they have, and even the drift of those privileged users, if any permission changes, etc. And finally, giving you audit insight, like a quick view that who is accessing that sensitive data, because most of the time organizations who are using such kind of a solution at enterprise level, they have hundreds of targets registered, a lot of data generated. So how quickly you want to know your top fives, okay, top 5 activity, top 5 objects, top 5 DMLs, etc. So quick audit insight is what is the key here. So why security assessment? Like I said, that you might have heard of database security assessment tool. But it's still, we meet a lot of customer and a lot of you who talk about that. If you ask me, I still have those questions like, is my Oracle database configured securely? Am I following best practice as my company standards? Is there something else that I can do it? Am I complying to security standards? Even if I'm doing DBSAT for some of the targets, so for management of that becomes a little difficult, okay? So what we have done, like I mentioned earlier, good part of DBSAT integrated with AVDF, and the good part of AVDF that taking that to the fleet wide. So you have 60 with AVDF security assessment, you have like approximately 69 findings cutting across 8 categories like database configuration, privilege use, privilege roles, patch configuration, user accounts, and etc. And divided into 6 risk levels, right? Like high, medium, low, advisory, etc. And that's all that you are doing at fleet wide. So you're giving a picture of, okay, you have registered 200 Oracle database targets, in which, let's say, these many are assessed, these many are not assessed. And overall, this is how your risk level looks like. Overall, this is your risk categories are. And if you want, you can drill down to these charts, donut charts, or have a specific target reports, etc. Right? So in nutshell, this security assessment that with AVDF we are providing, it is for your enterprise. So for your hundreds of Oracle targets, you can know that what your security posture is at that moment. You can run those jobs, generate report, or schedule those jobs as well. So you are improving your productivity, you have interactive reports with that. And finally, one important part that we introduced was drift management that's release 10. So security assessment for enterprise, we introduced in release update 9 itself. But drift wasn't there, and we kind of enhanced that feature, and we introduced fleet-wide drift for security controls as well. So there are multiple different type of reports. So for example, one of them that I really like is that security feature utilization. So a lot of time we have discussion that what Oracle provides many security features for your databases, and are you using that, or which on your overall target? So like I said, hundreds of target, whether you're using unified audit, are you using database vault, are you using privilege analysis, etc. So not from the operational perspective, but it's more to understand that what security features or what security controls you have on your Oracle database. And this is one report which gives you clear view of that, okay? Sometime moving number, plus or minus is great. So for example, you had unified audit for 4, and you have fine grain auditing and traditional auditing for 3, but now you see a drift of -1 and +1 here. Yeah, that's a good sign, because we are moving away from traditional and we want you to move to unified auditing. So that gives you a perspective. Okay, my targets are, so I have I'm moving my traditional audit targets to unified. I'm changing those policies. So it's a good sign, right? Similarly, you might be doing database vault or a privileged user control only for 2 targets, but now you have 2 more targets attached to it. Okay, or rather, earlier you were not doing for anything, but now you have +2, so you have new target. And same with privilege analysis, table space encryption, column encryption, etc. Right? So here, like for example, I have registered 4 targets, so it's giving me utilization for 4 targets, right? So this gives you a very quick view of it. I really like this report, and I feel that customers, you will have really good advantage of that report. So okay, so this was more zoomed in. Okay, and the next one, so there are multiple reports, but next one I want to show here is that when you're having a detailed drift report, right? You did your security assessment for different targets, and then now you want to look at it your detailed report. So for example, I have 1 target as finance and 1 target as HR. They assess at different time, and I have set a baseline. So I'm comparing with my baseline or selected assess time. Okay. Now, if you look at that privileges under privileges and roles, earlier in baseline, 3 out of 66 have been directly or indirectly had access to DBA and 3 grants. Now it has been increased to 4 grants. So this is kind of a red mark, right? However, on user account side, if you see earlier, there were 10 unlocked user. It was high risk category. And now there is no unlocked user using default passwords. So that's a good sign. Okay. Similarly, for user account, same, your number is increased. However, let's say data configuration, I'm saying that data infer attacks are properly blocked. So you have updated your configuration file, and so this is kind of passed now, right? So earlier it was medium risk, but the latest severity says it's passed. So it gives you a very good detailed drift. However, you need some knowledge to understand that. Database knowledge. We are working out on this part also, and trying to make sure that how we can grab our user attention on the ones which we feel that you need to really look at it. So we are kind of doing some enhancement in that area. Why sensitive data and privileged user discovery? So we know that compromised accounts are the most common cause of data breaches nowadays, and knowing that what privilege, where those users are, what permissions or privileges they have, or even finding out their drift if there is if their role controls or object grants, etc., are changing. So understanding their drift is also important, and obviously where your sensitive data is stored, so that you can put your security control there. So under discovery data and user, we came up with the concept of global sets in RU9, and we were providing global sets. You can create a global sets for your discover privileged users or sensitive objects. So you can have your single click discovery. That's again integrated with your DBSAT and entitlement report when you are finding who are privileged user and what sensitive data is. Then once you discover that, you create a global profile, and so that global profile can be used somewhere else, right? So it's helping you in deploying that feature or any use case much quickly in very less time, etc. But global profiling or a global set feature right now is tied to only database firewall policy. So but another enhancement what we did in RU10 is that global set even for database firewall policy. So earlier we were having only for privileged user set and sensitive object, and now we have extended that to other session context information like IP addresses, OS user, client program, etc. So that you create global set out of your database firewall policy. And when you are defining your database firewall policy, you go and you use those global sets. So if you remember earlier, we had sets concept in database firewall, but that was more local. So for different target, if you are defining different policies, then you have to create sets separately each time. Now you define those sets at global level and you can reuse them. And we kept that concept same. So for example, you discover from the collected data or add from file or add from collected data, etc. You can add, modify, etc. So for example, I have made set of IP addresses for my PCI compliant databases, etc. So I made that, and then here it is hidden behind this. You have in use. So if you are using that set to in database firewall policy, and let's say some value changes, so you can go and refresh it, etc. So this is the screenshot of your session context rule in database firewall policy, for example. So whatever the global set I have defined, it comes to my database firewall policy page also. It allows me to use that, or I can, currently we are having local sets also available, but slowly we will be phasing out local sets and we'll just have global sets. So that's the new feature we extended for global sets for other session context information in RU10. Audit Insight, finally, under your security posture management solutioning. Like I said, that you have hundreds or thousands or millions of events generated, like here, coming across different targets, but we want to grab your attention for your top five privilege user, DMLs, DDLs. So we kind of refined that. We introduced Audit Insight in RU9, but we refined this in RU10 a lot. So you will see there is a drop down. You can segregate between network event or audit log, or you can have a combined overall perspective. There was a summary on top in RU9, but those were not clickable. So now you can actually go and click and have a quick perspective of those events which are there. So it gives you a very enterprise level of reporting feeling, along with it's reducing noise, so that you can get attention to only ones where you feel, this privileged user is doing a lot of activity on my system. Let me go and see what exactly this user is doing. A lot of DDLs, this particular DDL is happening on my system. So let me go and check where all it is running, etc. So we would like you to focus on those top fives. So a lot of enhancement there on Audit Insight side. Another enhancement in before after value, where we say that how it's being used under security posture management. So how your data is getting changed. So that's another concept. You were having everything earlier also, but one thing was missing was how you get the perspective that which record has changed. Okay. So what we did, that we introduced primary key value, so that you can define either single. If it is already defined, it will be there. Otherwise, we'll let you define, because a lot of applications, they don't have primary key, for example, defined by default in their database. So we let you define while configuring before after value with Golden Gate. So you can define that. You can have your group of columns, key columns, or a single column, etc. And you have a primary key value also defined. So you know that, okay, this employee or this GUID whose record actually changed here. Okay, so that's the enhancement we did in before after values reports. Okay, so it's a wrap up time, and we do a lot of work. If you have any question, you can go to AVDF forum. So how you can go to, it's basically, you can just go to normal on-premise infrastructure, database software, and you tag database security and audit vault database firewall. These two tags, so this query comes to us. Another thing, I'm still running customer adoption programs. So if you are in some stage of your deployment or upgrade, etc., with your partner, and you need little bit guidance that what should I do, what is the best practice, am I doing correct or not, so reach out to me. Reach out to actually your salesperson, and then they can reach out to us, and we will nominate you for customer adoption program. So we kind of handhold with you, help you out to have successful AVDF implementation with your implementation partners. I'm coming up with another thing, which is AVDF CAB. You will be receiving email from my side. Most of you AVDF customers who are there. So basically, it's a customer advisory board where we would like to understand your use cases, your requirement, and definitely what enhancement or how we should plan our next release. So that will help us there, helping you keep up. So you will find since RU10 is released, you can go to oracle.com AVDF page also. You will find that page completely updated with latest blog, with latest information, FAQs, etc., data sheet, white technical paper, etc. So you'll find that you can scan these QR code whenever there is a new release. I come up with AVDF blog with all the details, and sometimes if any feature is separate blog worthy, so then I write separate blog for that feature also. For documentation and support notes also, these documentations are updated frequently. But like Rich said, that if you find something, any dog bug, let us know, because we keep on reviewing that, and every time I read something and I find new thing and I send them. So yeah, it's all, we did a lot of improvement, but I understand that it's always a scope of improvement. So please keep sending your feedback there. AVDF Live Labs, so that's available if you want to utilize all those AVDF RU10 20.10 features. It's already available on Live Lab, so you can go and experience that. And after experience, if you want to apply your patches, if you are existing AVDF user and on older RU, so if you want to experience that first and then apply your patch, then go ahead, use AVDF Live Lab, experience RU10, and then apply that patch. And finally, I would like to, I think I have been, so like Rich runs office hour for DB security, all products. I run AVDF Cafe separately, and where we just talk about AVDF Cafe, AVDF topics. So if you haven't subscribed to that channel, please do that. I try to do it, so it's not like every month. It happens between, so I try to do it every 3 months, quarterly, but sometimes, for example, it's a common topic. So I'm not doing cafe, and I have invited my cafe subscriber also to this office hour, and so that we can just have the combined one, because many times it happens, AVDF Cafe subscriber and database security office hour subscriber, they both are same. So you don't want to hear a repeated topic. So that's why I invited them here. I run it in 3 different time, which are friendly for 3 different time zones, APAC, EMEA, and North America, and South America. So whichever region you belong to, whichever time suits you, you can subscribe for that one. And so, yeah. So that's what AVDF Cafe is. Yeah. And if you have any more question, we'll try to handle all the question here. But if anything left, you can always reach out to me on my email.
Excellent. Thanks, Nadia. I pasted those links in the chat for you, and I also updated the GitHub repository with those additional links to the cafe and that blog post. I'd missed that earlier, so they are available out there in that GitHub repository as well for you. And then next month, I think we're going to be able to talk about the new database security assessment tool release that's going to be coming out here pretty soon. So pretty excited to have Pedro on and talk about DBSAT 3.0. So that'll be Wednesday, the 13th of December. And hopefully you can join us then.